We begin with breaking news here at 4 a.m. Two people are killed after their car was hit by a tornado in northwest Oklahoma. I'm Colby Thielen. The latest from northwest Oklahoma coming up, plus this.
A little kid from West Oklahoma gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
President Donald Trump picks Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin to serve as the Secretary of Homeland Security. We're going to break down the pick and how the Senate seat will be filled. It's ahead.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Megan Gold. At least 7 tornadoes last night. Another threat for severe weather today, this time off to the east. I'll recap what happened last night and give you more on those threats for today. It's coming up.
Live from downtown Oklahoma City, Oklahoma's own News 9 starts now with breaking news.
And we do begin with that breaking news right now, taking us to northwest Oklahoma. 2 people dead after their car was hit by a tornado. CBS News reporting this morning it was a mother and a daughter. It happened near Fairview and Highway 60, County Road 2435. No names so far have been released. We've been reaching out to crews all morning, as well as county officials. We do have a crew there on the way to that scene. Our Kylie Dedman will have more coming up in just a little bit in our next half hour. So we are continuing to follow the latest. But as we turn to Megan now, it was another situation. You guys have been warning about it, talking about it. A deadly tornado, and really we're not out of the woods yet when it comes to severe weather.
No, more severe threats today and this morning, giving the update on fatalities from severe weather is the last thing that we want to do. And it was a big night up in the north and west. We had at least 7 tornadoes. We'll go out, we'll do these damage surveys, and we'll know more about the strength of these storms. But we think we had at least an EF2, and we'll show you video from our Jeremy Carter, who was out near the Fairview area during last night from 7 to 8 o'clock. We'll show that coming up here in just a little bit. But those dynamics in place, a warm front lifting, instability was increasing, warm temperatures, we became unstable, and we had scattered showers and thunderstorms through the afternoon. And by about 7 to 8 o'clock, things really took off with a specific supercell that really went up over Putnam and traveled up to the north and to the east. We had some hail with that. Southwestern Oklahoma, no confirmed tornadoes for you all. So there's that specific storm as it crossed Highway 60 where that accident was that we mentioned just a few minutes ago. It became tornado warmed and lifted up to the north from there. And that was really the main game in town during the evening hours. Again, we had quarter to golf ball and even some tennis ball sized hail with that specific cell. It was a monster of a storm. Now here on your Friday morning, no severe weather. That round has ended, and we'll look forward to the round that comes in later today. Scattered showers to the east of I-35 in Oklahoma City. We are totally dry. No lightning with any of this. Showers over Ada to Holdenville down to the southern sides of Sulphur, Medill. And here in Oklahoma City, skies have actually cleared out and temperatures have fallen now to 64 degrees. Still very, very warm for a morning temperature. Shawnee, you're 68 degrees right now, 64 in Hinton, 63 in Clinton, and 69 in Guthrie. So you can see where our warmer air mass is. We've got 50s and then we've got 30s and 40s out in the panhandle. Winds are gusty this morning. And as we go through the day, winds are going to crank up. We'll have gusts to 35 and 40 miles per hour. Here's the setup for today beginning at 3 o'clock. The dry line moves in from the Texas panhandle into western Oklahoma to the west of the dry line. Fire danger will be elevated today and storms take off this afternoon. We'll talk all about it, the threats, what you need to know about. How does your weekend look? It's all coming up. Colby, back over to you.
Megan, thank you. The other big story we're following this morning is you take a live look at the nation's capital. President Donald Trump tapped Senator Markwayne Mullin to replace Kristi Noem as Secretary of Homeland Security. Senator Mullin will step into this role at the end of this month. Our Washington Bureau Chief Alex Cameron spoke with Senator Mullin shortly after President Trump made that announcement. He said he felt humbled to be nominated.
I had to call my dad, because it happened quick, right? I had to call my wife and call my dad both. And it's just, pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from West Oklahoma gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
Senator Mullin also asked Alex that President Trump asked him to take that position just before making that announcement. So a big change very quickly. The next big question now, what's next for Senator Mullin's Senate seat? Thanks to a 2021 law, Governor Kevin Stitt can appoint that role. Whoever he picks will be the third person to fill the single term originally held by Senator Jim Inhofe. Our Capitol reporter Haley Hetrick has the latest on the next steps and the reaction from state leaders.
There was some mixed reactions from leaders here at the state capitol. We were talking with them just minutes after this news broke.
Kind of surprised that he would give up a U.S. Senate seat for a position like this. That's probably a three-year term in the as being that, because a new president may or may not want to. It gets a little more dicey about what your future is, but it's a great opportunity for him.
And all of his background, I think he's somebody could step into a role that's a very heated place for our country right now, and would be a great asset to the United States.
That was from Republican state leaders, while state Democrats criticized Mullen, saying he has aligned himself with Trump's most extreme policies in the U.S. Senate. Governor Kevin Stitt said in a statement, Markwayne Mullin has been a fighter for Oklahoma and will continue to fight to keep our nation secure. He adds that Stitt is looking to appoint a strong, small government conservative voice who will support President Trump and protect Oklahoma's way of life. Now, thanks to a 2021 state law, Governor Stitt does have the power to appoint a temporary replacement. That person must be a registered Republican, and the temporary senator cannot run for the seat in the November election. Stitt cannot appoint himself to this role, but if he wanted to, he could run for U.S. Senate in November. At the Capitol for Oklahoma Zone, I'm Haley Hetrick.
We'll certainly be following. The governor will have 30 days after that seat is vacated to choose a replacement. He has not given any hint as to who that person could be at this point. We're also taking a closer look at what a transition of leadership would look like for immigrants and refugees here in Oklahoma. We spoke with some Metro immigration attorneys who say the transition has been at the forefront of their minds. They believe Senator Mullen will likely stick with the Trump administration's current immigration enforcement strategies rather than shaking things up with major new policies.
I think it'll continue to be consistent as far as what's going on with ICE in the streets, arresting and profiling people. I think a lot of those things are going to continue until the people stand up and say that's not what they want anymore.
So another Metro immigration attorney, Melissa Lujan, represents both immigrants and refugees. She says she hopes Mullen will bring Oklahoma's business-friendly values to this new role. And Senator Mullen could join the list of only a handful of Oklahomans appointed to a presidential cabinet. In fact, former Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt, as you'll recall, served as the Environmental Protection Agency's administrator. Patrick Hurley was appointed as Herbert Hoover's Secretary of War and was the first Oklahoman to serve as a cabinet member. Other Oklahomans within presidential administrations include former Governor Frank Keating and former U.S. Representative Jim Bridenstine. Let's turn now to the Bob Mills Weather Center. A lot to talk about on this forefront, Megan. We've, of course, had those deadly tornadoes that broke out last night. Looking at more severe weather potentially today.
Yeah, so it was western Oklahoma during the evening, the overnight hours yesterday, and today it flips to the eastern side of the state. Oklahoma City, we're really missing out on the rain here, but I think we should be grateful for no huge severe weather threat. This morning, all of our severe storms have moved out. We do have a few lingering showers and rumbles of thunder off to our east, dry in Oklahoma City right now. In this afternoon, severe threats ramp up as the dry line pushes in. We'll talk all about it coming up.
And still ahead, you heard Senator Markwayne Mullin mention his hometown of Westville, Oklahoma. Well, we're going there. This is after President Trump appoints him to his cabinet, how his hometown is reacting. It's right after the break. Welcome back. We've been talking all week long, last week too, really about the severe weather potential for yesterday. It happened late, which is almost scarier because it's after dark.
It is. It's very dangerous.
And some of the video that you were showing me coming in from Jeremy Carter, just absolutely terrifying.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
And there was so much lightning, it was nearly continual. So in his shot, which we'll show you here in just a minute, control room if we have it. I mean, look at this. Right there from our Jeremy Carter.
Monster.
And
Holy cow.
we think this is at least an EF2. As always, that's preliminary, and that's from our storm team. But as we go through the coming days, we do know we did have some damage as these storms went up into northern Oklahoma. But
you were talking like, I mean, sadly, 2 people were killed, but it was more rural, which does affect the scale of how they measure it. Correct?
Right. These did not come into the Oklahoma City metro, but they absolutely affected folks in western Oklahoma, southwest. It really took off southwest of Fairview, Oriena to Helena, up to Jet and Nash, and off to the north and east from there. We had Kyle Wilson, Brandon Pennell, Jeremy Carter. All of our storm trackers were out covering the southwest, the west, and then up into kind of northwestern Oklahoma. We had some hail, but of course the big headline, and there it is from our Jeremy Carter there. As you can see, the continual lightning, and just what a horrifying shot to see what looks like a wedge tornado there up near the Fairview, southwest of Fairview. And that specific supercell, as it moved off to the north and east, produced at least 7 tornadoes. So it was kind of up and down. It wasn't continual the whole way, but I'll show you that coming up here in our next half hour. But more video from our Kyle Wilson and just all the guys and gals that were out for us. Val and Amy Carter doing an amazing job trying to keep Oklahomans safe. So if you're just now joining us, let me show you where we think these tornadoes happened. When you take a look back at debris detector and where the debris was lofted in the air, that's when you can assume a tornado has occurred. So preliminary reports, these numbers may change. Right now it's 7. So again, first tornado as it crossed Highway 60. That was southwest of Fairview. Grateful that Fairview did not take a direct hit. And then up to the north from there, right over Oriena, and then to the north and to the east. And this continued, I mean, until it weakened as it went up towards Renfro. So just to take you back the loop, during the afternoon, we started to become more unstable, and really into the overnight hours, we had a warm front that these storms were interacting with. The low-level jet really kicked in. Those are the winds higher up off the surface, and really feeding into this storm, it allowed these dynamics to really allow these storms to take off. No thunder, no tornadoes confirmed down in the southwest. That can always change, but our guys were down there, and it was mainly just severe thunderstorms for them. So again, thunderstorm went up over Putnam, Taloga, Sealing, became severe, and as it crossed Highway 60, tornado warned up to Oriena, Helena, Jet, and north and northeast from there. There was quite a bit of hail with these storms as well. Very strong updrafts with quarter to golf ball to even tennis ball sized hail in some of the strongest storms. The good news, if you're waking up this morning, no severe storms in the state, but we do have a severe threat as we go into the afternoon and the evening. We do have showers ongoing off into eastern Oklahoma right now, and very, very light rain for the most part. All of this lifting up to the north and east, Holdenville, Wetumpka, off into eastern Oklahoma, Okmulgee, Coweta, and over to Tulsa. Here in Oklahoma City, the cloud cover from the overnight hours has cleared out. Temperatures have dropped several degrees, and we are 81% humidity, but very, very warm and humid out the door. It is 63 in Hinton, 69 in Guthrie, 68 in Shawnee. Okmulgee is 71 degrees right now. So that just goes to show you what was in place for these storms as they took off. We've got upper 50s and low 60s back to the west with a south wind pumping in more of that Gulf moisture. Our dew points are running in the upper 50s and low 60s this morning. This afternoon, it's very warm, upper 70s and low to mid to upper 80s down in southwestern Oklahoma. Very warm and very windy. A south wind 35 to 40 miles per hour ahead of the cold front that moves through tonight. Now, western Oklahoma, I know you picked up rain, and hopefully that will help. But with these very strong winds and with the dry lines surging in from the Texas Panhandle, all that means is very, very dry air moving from the west to the east, and that'll separate a very dry air mass from a very warm air, moist air mass. So we will have a moderate fire danger in western Oklahoma, humidity 10 to 20%. Here's our severe zone for later this afternoon and into the overnight. The dry line sets up, and most data says any storms that we see near the metro will be just off to our east. So more than likely in our eastern viewing area. Down in southeastern Oklahoma and far eastern Oklahoma, that's where the threat is a little higher. So this afternoon, a 20% chance for a storm here in Oklahoma City. Storm trackers are going to be out regardless, and then the threat increases the farther east you go. So let's walk you through this. The chance for a few spotty showers and thunderstorms mainly to the east through midday, and then this afternoon is when we'll really watch for thunderstorms to take off. I think we see additional storms into the overnight hours as well. So we'll watch for that, and Jed will be here tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, after the cold front moves through, much cooler from 70s and 80s today to the 50s tomorrow, and tomorrow morning into the afternoon, a 40% chance for thunderstorms in Oklahoma City. A few of those could be strong, higher chances down in the south and east, and then Sunday brings a big time warm up back to the 70s. Now we are watching another storm to come in for your Tuesday, and that has the potential to bring more severe weather threats. We're still a ways away, still a lot to iron out, but the good news is that next week looks a lot more quiet than this week. So again, watching Tuesday very closely. Several cold fronts there on the 9-day, but overall staying very warm. And don't forget, we spring forward overnight Saturday into Sunday. Colby, back over to you.
Megan, thank you. From a small town in Oklahoma to now a potential spot in the presidential cabinet. That's if the Senate confirms. This morning, we're going back to Markwayne Mullen's hometown of Westville, Oklahoma. He still has family living there, and they tell our Chloe Abbott they're excited for his new role.
A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
The new Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security grew up in Adair County with 6 siblings and their friends.
We picked on him pretty hard. You know, he's 10, 12 years younger than me and his older brothers, and so he took the blunt of the blow, so he grew up pretty tough.
Todd Snyder is Markwayne Mullen's distant cousin and friend. Todd watched him grow up.
I just thought he'd stay out there and, you know, be a plumber the rest of his life. I never saw him going into politics, you know.
Now that Mullen has been in politics for more than a decade, Todd believes he's been a success and will carry that into his new role.
He's a no-nonsense guy. He's gonna get in there, and if they need some help, he's gonna go help them. He's that kind of a guy.
Mullen will become one of just a handful of Oklahomans to be a member of a president's cabinet, and one retired Westville teacher says that sends a big message to students.
That a dream can come true for anyone, and you just have to believe.
Todd agrees and hopes the community learns from his cousin and friend.
You know, Adair County is one of the poorest counties in the state. It doesn't matter where you come from, you can still do good things.
Chloe Abbott, Oklahoma Zone, News 9.
And Markwayne Mullen's father, Jim, told us that he doesn't do interviews, but he is proud of his son. 4:20 right now. We have a lot more ahead here, including the latest from these massive tornadoes overnight in northwest Oklahoma. We are going to be live in Fairview this morning. Our Kylie Dedman is actually speaking with the sheriff there after a mother and daughter are killed. She's telling us she also has seen down power lines, tons of debris. We'll have a live report from her ahead on News 9. Welcome back. We're continuing to follow the breaking news from northwest Oklahoma. Terrifying tornadoes that broke out overnight. At least 7 is the preliminary count. Our Kylie Dedman is there in Fairview this morning. And do we have Kylie on the phone? Okay, we got the shot here. Kylie, if you can hear us, go ahead and tell us what you're seeing up there.
Yes. Yeah, Colby, so we are right out of Highway 60 and County Road 2435, where there is down power lines. You can see it right over here. We also have the sheriff's office, the sheriff's here as well, blocking this road now. We have seen, he tells me, about 3 miles of down power lines and also tons of debris. So these roads are out here blocked off. So we'll keep you updated. We'll have a live report also with the sheriff, getting an interview with him as well. So stay up with News 9 for that. But if you're going to be out in this area around Highway 60 and County Road 2435, avoid this area. There's down power lines and tons of debris in this area.
Kylie Dedman reporting for us live there in Fairview this morning. Kylie, we'll continue to talk with you throughout the morning, and looking forward to hearing what the sheriff has to say as well. Megan, sadly, 2 people died as a result of these tornadoes, and you guys have been warning about this. Right. We're not out of the woods yet. Still a threat in place today.
Right. So yesterday it was western Oklahoma. There was some thinking that some data said storms could come in Oklahoma City. That did not happen. It was all to the west and to the northwest this morning. All of those storms have dissipated or lifted up into Kansas, and we do have some light rain, mainly to the east of Oklahoma City. A few rumbles of thunder, and the severe risks ramps back up as we go into the afternoon. We turn very warm, south winds very strong, gusting to 35 and 40 miles per hour. Cold front up in the northwest, that moves through the weekend, and the dry line surges in from the west. And this dry line is called a dry line because it's exactly what it sounds like. It separates a very, very dry air mass from a moist air mass. So there'll be very dry air back behind the dry line, which means fire danger will be elevated to the west. Areas to the east more favorable for thunderstorms to take off. They'll be scattered, and higher chances in far eastern Oklahoma. So again, fire threat potential for far western Oklahoma. This afternoon, only about a 20% chance that 1 or 2 of those storms sneaks into the metro. Higher chances to the south and to the east. We'll talk all about it coming up here at 4:30.
Yeah, just because it's Friday, heading into the weekend doesn't mean you should let your guard down. So stay with it. You can download the News 9 app for specific location data to your area. We got a lot more ahead. Lacey will join us. We're back right after this.
Breaking news right now at 4:30. A mother and daughter are killed after their car was hit by a tornado in northwest Oklahoma. I'm Lacey Lowry. Coming up, we are live at the scene talking with the sheriff.
A little kid from West Oklahoma gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
President Donald Trump picks Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin to serve as the Secretary of Homeland Security. I'm Colby Thielen. We break down the pick and how his Senate seat will soon be filled. It's ahead.
Good Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Megan Gold. It was western Oklahoma under the threat for severe weather yesterday evening into the overnight, and today that shifts to eastern Oklahoma. We'll talk about the timing, the threats, what you need to know, and also recap last night's storms. It's coming up.
Live from downtown Oklahoma City, Oklahoma's own News 9 starts now.
And we do begin with that breaking news in northwest Oklahoma. 2 people are dead after their car was hit by a tornado in northwest Oklahoma.
This happened last night in Fairview. We've learned it's a mother and a daughter. Just heartbreaking news to start with. Kylie Dedmond is there live right on the highway where it all unfolded. Kylie, what have you learned?
Yeah, Lacey, the sheriff just confirmed to me that it was the mother and daughter that unfortunately did pass away in those tornadic weather damages that we saw last night. Now, this is right off of Highway 60 and County Road 2435. It's actually blocked off. We have the sheriff right here actually trying to tell this car, hey, you're going to need to move around. But if we can even pan over here, you can see the down power lines and then just continuing to come to the right side of the screen. This road, again, this is on Highway 60 and County Road 2435. It's about 3 miles down of power lines down in this area, and there's also tons of debris as well. So the sheriff, as you can see, he's telling people, hey, turn around, avoid this area. Again, this is Highway 60 and County Road 2435. Again, about 3 miles of down power lines and tons of debris in this area. Again, this is the area where unfortunately that mother and daughter did pass away in the car from those tornadic weather that we saw last night. Now, I asked the sheriff, I was like, is there anything that we can tell our viewers, anything to let them know? And again, he just said, avoid this area. We'll be speaking with him. We'll have a live report coming up in our next half hour. So stay with News 9 for more information on that. But reporting live, Kylie Dedmond, Oklahoma's own News 9.
Kylie, thank you. Just so heartbreaking this morning. The loss of life, all the damage, and we have more weather today.
We got to keep, weather aware. I know the nighttime tornado is always so scary. Seeing some of the footage from our Jeremy Carter just looks like an absolute monster. Let's talk to Megan Gold. She's in the Bob Mills Weather Center. Megan, we still have to be weather aware going into our weekend.
We do. The threat shifts to the east, and we'll talk more about it, but I just want to start by showing you this video from our Jeremy Carter. Check it out. Looks like a wedge tornado. We're thinking this is more than likely an EF2 tornado. Jeremy Carter was on this supercell as it dropped on and off. 7 tornadoes as it moved up to the north and to the east. I mean, terrifying view there with really continuous lightning lighting up the sky and showing you that tornado. We do know there's damage, and our Mason Dunn and Bob Mills Sky News 9 will be up early this morning to get us aerial views of that damage. If you're waking up this morning, we're thinking about you if you were impacted by those storms, and certainly devastated to hear that we lost Oklahomans last night. Let me show you where these tornadoes were. We have 7 preliminary tornadoes, and this number may change. First tornado went up right over Highway 60 to the southwest of Fairview, and then over Oriena and up to the north and east, Helena to Jet, and north and east from there. No tornadoes in southwestern Oklahoma. We had our entire fleet of storm trackers out starting around 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Things did get off to a pretty slow start. We had convective showers and a few thunderstorms, but by 7 to 8 o'clock, things really got going as the dynamics, those upper level dynamics with the low level jet kicking in, interacting with a warm front. We initially had a severe thunderstorm warning over Putnam, and from there, things took off with tornado warnings. And there's that thunderstorm again as it crossed Highway 60. Look at the hook there on it as it went over Oriena to Helena and to Jet and off to the north and east from there. And we did have quite a bit of hail in that supercell as well, up to about tennis to golf ball sized hail. So some pretty big hail this morning, western Oklahoma. It is very, very quiet for you all. Thank goodness. Dry in the Oklahoma City metro. Showers off to the east. And today will be be a mostly dry day before we kick things back up later this afternoon. Here's the live look from our Lucky Stars Skycam Network 66. Is our temperature very warm out the door and humid with a gusty south wind. Today, very strong south winds, and the dry line moves into western Oklahoma, and that will bring in additional severe threats, mainly to the east of I-35. We will talk all about it, what you need to know, and your weekend forecast. It looks pretty good, guys. Back over to you.
I had to call my dad, and because it happened quick, right? I had to call my wife and call my dad both. And it's just, pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
The other major story we're following this morning, President Donald Trump selected Oklahoma U.S. Senator Markwayne Mullin to replace Kristi Noem as Secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
This decision comes after tensions over congressional testimony about a very expensive federal advertising campaign for DHS. Our News 9's Brianna Brown is live this morning explaining how we got to this point with Markwayne Mullin. Brianna, good morning.
Good morning, Lacey. Yes, Markwayne Mullin has served as Oklahoma's U.S. junior senator since 2023. Now, President Trump announced that Mullin will take over as Secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which oversees border security along with immigration enforcement, disaster response, and other domestic security responsibilities. Now, according to a report from the National Review, President Trump privately was frustrated with Kristi Noem after she testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee that the president had advanced knowledge of a $220 million DHS advertising campaign tied to a contractor connected to one of her allies. Now, Mullin has consistently aligned himself with President Trump, earning a reputation as a steadfast supporter of the president. And during the State of the Union, he was caught on camera trying to take a sign away from a member that criticized the president.
We get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland. And no matter if you support me or you don't support me, I'm going to be laser focused on getting that done.
Now, Mullin will start as acting DHS Secretary starting March 31st, but will still have to be confirmed by the Senate. Here live in Oklahoma City, Brianna Brown for Oklahoma's Own News 9.
Brianna, thank you. And Kristi Noem, the former governor of South Dakota, has led the Department of Homeland Security since joining the president's cabinet.
A big question now is what is next for Mullin's Senate seat. Thanks to a 2021 law, Governor Kevin Stitt can appoint that role. Whoever he picks will be the third person to fill the single term originally held by Senator Jim Inhofe. Our Capitol reporter Haley Hetrick has more on the next steps and reaction from state leaders.
There was some mixed reactions from leaders here at the state capitol. We were talking with them just minutes after this news broke.
Kind of surprised that he would give up a U.S. Senate seat for a position like this. That's probably a three-year term, and as being that as a new president, may or may not want to. It gets a little more dicey about what your future is, but it's a great opportunity for him.
And all of his background, I think he's somebody could step into a role that's a very heated place for our country right now and would be a great asset to the United States.
That was from Republican state leaders, while state Democrats criticized Mullin, saying he has aligned himself with Trump's most extreme policies in the U.S. Senate. Governor Kevin Stitt said in a statement, Markwayne Mullin has been a fighter for Oklahoma and will continue to fight to keep our nation secure. He adds that Stitt is looking to appoint a strong, small government conservative voice who will support President Trump and protect Oklahoma's way of life. Now, thanks to a 2021 state law, Governor Stitt does have the power to appoint a temporary replacement. That person must be a registered Republican, and the temporary senator cannot run for the seat in the November election. Stitt cannot appoint himself to this role, but if he wanted to, he could run for U.S. Senate in November. At the Capitol for Oklahoma's Own, I'm Haley Hetrick.
Haley, thank you. The governor will have 30 days after the seat is vacated to choose a replacement. He has not given any indication on who he might appoint.
And if confirmed by the Senate, Senator Mullin could end up joining a list of only a handful of Oklahomans appointed to a presidential cabinet. Former Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt, of course, served as the Environmental Protection Agency's administrator in the first Trump administration. Patrick Hurley was appointed by Herbert Hoover, the Secretary of War. It was the first Oklahoman to serve as a cabinet member. Other Oklahomans within presidential administrations include former Governor Frank Keating and former U.S. Representative Jim Brennenstein.
It's a big story. The other big story is the weather. At least 7 tornadoes last night, and we got to watch the weather again today.
Yeah, it's certainly a day to be weather aware. Don't let your guard down as you're heading into your weekend. Let's turn to the Bob Mills Weather Center. Megan Gold standing by. Megan?
Good morning, guys. It is tough that we're starting our Friday morning with the news of losing Oklahomans and then having a threat for more severe weather later tonight. The dry line sets up really this evening and into the overnight hours. Those thunderstorms could be capable of large hail, damaging winds, and again, tornadoes. We'll talk all about it in your weekend forecast coming up.
Still ahead, we have new details on an apparent, we're talking voting and elections coming up. You're watching News 9 this morning. All right, if you're just waking up with us, at least 7 tornadoes last night, and unfortunately we know at least 2 people lost their lives as a result.
That's the worst part.
Yes.
And you know, we talk about these storms and we warn for these storms, and the hope is to save lives and to save property, and it's devastating when you wake up to that news, and we hate to share that update. We do have the chance for more severe weather, and guys, we had talked about yesterday for a couple of weeks. Today, another day we've talked about as well, and then we do have more severe chances next week. Here is the video from from our Jeremy Carter. Our entire fleet of storm trackers were out. Yesterday was a big day, and freezing it on that video. Guys, look at that tornado. That is more than likely an EF2 tornado. We will see those damage assessments and get a better idea of exactly the path that this tornado took. But we're able to go back and look at the data and see where the debris was lofted. We do know power lines were down. We have had several structures hit, and we'll know more when we get our Mason Dunn and Bob Mills Sky News 9 up in the air this morning, and we will have live footage from him coming up at 9 a.m. You will not want to miss that. And control room, if we have any other video to show from our Kyle Wilson was out. We had our Brandon Pennell, that video again from Jeremy Carter, Val and Amy Castor, and if not, we'll go ahead and take links 1. So here are our tornadoes. No tornadoes in southwestern Oklahoma. It was this one supercell that took off kind of right over Putnam, and things were pretty quiet through the 6, 7 o'clock hour, and then by 8 o'clock, things really took off. The low-level jet kicked in. We had a warm front, and as these thunderstorms were interacting with that boundary, just all of these dynamics in place, very warm temperatures for March, and also very, very high dew points. So it just kind of had a stormy feel to it yesterday during the afternoon. We got some late day sunshine, and that was enough to crank up our instability. So this one supercell dropped tornadoes up and down. So it wasn't one tornado on the ground continuously for 80, 90 miles, but it was up and down at times, and this number will more than likely change. So what you're seeing here is the rotation tracker, which is shear, so that's your rotation all the way from around Taloga through Oriana up to Helena and all the way right up to about the Kansas border. So a good 70, 80, 90 miles per hour, give or take some. So taking you back, we started with thunderstorms taking off in the Texas Panhandle down into southwestern Oklahoma. There was some concern that some of the data was saying thunderstorms were going to come barreling through the Oklahoma City metro. A lot of the data said exactly this would happen, and it did. And things really verified the way we thought they would with that tornado threat and the large hail threat. So what you can see here as we zoom in is a hook feature that develops really right on top of areas southwest of Fairview and Oriana, and just a terrifying sight, especially when you have nighttime tornadoes. That could not be more dangerous. It is much safer, if you can call it that, to have tornadoes during the daylight hours when you can at least see them. So dangerous setup for us. Here at 4:47 on your Friday morning, things have quieted down. We do have a few showers ongoing in far eastern Oklahoma from Wetumpka, a few showers east of Shawnee, down to Colgate, Atoka, Medill, McAllister, lifting up to Eufaula and up into northeastern Oklahoma. Here in the Oklahoma City metro, we are really sandwiched in between 2 days of severe weather. The west yesterday and the east today, which means our rainfall amounts are not going to be what we want, unfortunately. We don't want the severe weather, but we absolutely want the rain and moisture. And coming up, I'll show you those rainfall amounts. 66 is our temperature right now. The cloud cover has moved out, and very warm to start the day here with low to mid 60s in the metro, nearly 70 degrees down along the Red River, low 60s back to the west, and some 30s and 40s out in the Panhandle. Today is a very strong wind day. We will have gusts to 35 and 40 miles per hour, and the dew points hanging in the upper 50s and the low 60s. This afternoon brings a big warm up, several degrees warmer than yesterday. Again, that south wind cranking in the warmth and the moisture. 78 in Oklahoma City. Mid to upper 80s down in the southwest, with the cold front up in the northwest. Here's our setup for today. Dry line comes in from the Texas Panhandle. So that means dry air to the west of the dry line and very moist and unstable air to the east. And this environment is more conducive to large hail, damaging winds, and again, more tornadoes. I don't think today will be quite as impressive as yesterday, hopefully, but we'll see with the dynamics at play. Oklahoma City, a very slight chance that we have a thunderstorm or two. I do want to mention fire danger will be elevated. Hopefully with the rains that we got last night, it won't be a problem, but with the ongoing drought, very strong winds and low humidity today, we could have a few issues. So this afternoon and evening, here are your rain and thunderstorm chances, and walking you through future next gen, a chance for a few spotty showers and thunderstorms through the day in Oklahoma City, a 20% chance. Later this afternoon, we'll watch for these thunderstorms to go off to the east of the dry dry line, and most data brings in another round during the overnight hours from Oklahoma City to Tulsa, down to the south and east, with additional showers and thunderstorms through the morning, and then down to the south and east for your Saturday afternoon. Tomorrow, much colder after the cold front comes through. We're back to the 50s with a breezy north wind. There are your rain chances for tomorrow and Sunday, guys. We're back into the 70s. Next week, we've got another day of severe weather to watch. That will be Tuesday. Overall temperatures very, very mild. Back over to you.
Megan, thank you. Some other headlines this morning. Enid police say a woman was shot and killed by her estranged husband in an apparent murder-suicide. Investigators say they responded to reports of a shooting near 23rd and Cedar Wednesday night. That's where they say they found Kendra Smith with multiple gunshot wounds. She later died at the hospital. Police say the suspect, Jeffrey Smith, was found dead in his truck at a nearby gas station. Officers say it appears Smith died by suicide. Enid Public Schools confirms Kendra was a first-grade teacher at Coolidge Elementary. They say additional counselors will be available to help staff and students deal with this tragedy.
An Oklahoma City man is sentenced to 4 decades in prison for the death of his 4-month-old baby son. Oklahoma City police got the call about an unconscious child in March of 2024. The baby died at the hospital, and the autopsy shows the child suffered from blunt force trauma. Police then arrested the father, DeJuan Betancourt, for murder. He actually pleaded guilty last October, and this week a judge sentenced him to more than 40 years in prison.
Woodward police now warning residents about a scam targeting homes after these recent wildfires. Police say those scammers are posing as city employees, asking to inspect your home for smoke damage from a recent fire. They say government agencies don't do these kinds of inspections. You're asked to report those calls to the Woodward Police Department.
Another story we're following this morning, an effort to create open primaries in Oklahoma fails at the state capitol. The Secretary of State's office announcing that a petition to get State Question 836 on the ballot did not meet the required number of signatures to qualify. The state question would have put all candidates on the same primary ballot, regardless of political party. Again, it falls short.
Coming up here on News 9, an Oklahoma friendship making waves nationwide. Why 2 Tulsa moms are taking their homemade product to Shark Tank. It's ahead.
how about this? 2 Oklahoma women are heading to Shark Tank, the show, with a product in honor of hardworking moms. Christine Fears and Suzanne Boyd met on a blind double date in Tulsa, became friends, and even had their babies 5 days apart. They started creating a stain remover together, inspired by Suzanne's mom, who passed away unexpectedly.
My mom was just constantly caring for us, just in little ways. It seemed like no big deal, but when you add them all together, it's a huge deal. It's just a lifetime of caring.
Here is their product right here. Suzanne and Christine will head to California with their stain remover for their audition next week. We are pulling for you guys.
You know why they created a stain remover? Because they
Little
had
boys?
Yes, they had kids within 5 days.
Hey, we need some
Mine
of that
come to me
around
and they
here.
say, "Can you get all this out?" I'm like, "Did you did you army crawl somewhere? What is going on?" That's kind of a cool story, though.
Yeah,
so.
I love that. I grew up watching Shark Tank like every Friday night. It was like a family tradition.
Would you buy that? Would you invest in
Totally.
that? I know.
Yeah. Anything that's on that show, I feel like is good.
So many stains all over. I mean,
All the time. And
I'm
I don't
gonna
have
need a lot of
kids,
that
so
product.
it's a me thing. Hey, we do have severe threats this afternoon. It shifts east. We'll talk all about it and recap storms from last night coming up.
Paying attention to those threats and paying attention to what happened in Fairview. Still ahead, we're going to check back in with our Kylie Deadman. She's in northwest Oklahoma after a mother and daughter are hit and killed by a tornado. She has an interview with the sheriff. It's coming up here on News 9.
a little kid from West Oklahoma gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
President Trump nominates U.S. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen to be the next Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security.
A personal friend of Noam's, who's also been one of Trump's strongest allies on the Hill.
Look at the hook. Look at the hook as we get into the first week of March in Oklahoma.
Looks like a pretty intense rotation, David. Look at there. Looks great big cone. Great big cone now, David.
Multiple tornadoes, multiple vortex tornadoes. It's just devouring everything in its path.
Live from downtown Oklahoma City, Oklahoma's own News 9 starts now.
Good Friday morning. A couple of major stories we're following this morning. First, a mother and daughter dead this morning after their car was hit by a tornado in Fairview. We're going to hear from the Major County Sheriff in just a moment.
Yeah, heartbreaking story there. Also, we're following the historic announcement out of D.C. President Trump taps U.S. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma as next Homeland Security Secretary. Our crews are live this morning to bring you these top headlines. But first, meteorologist Megan Gold is in the Bob Mills Weather Center. Megan, so many tornadoes touching down last night, and we're watching again today.
Exactly. More threats today. It was across the west yesterday, and now it's across the east for today. Let me show you video from our storm tracker, Jeremy Carter, and there is one of those big tornadoes that David was talking about there just a couple of minutes ago. Looks like a wedge tornado, at least an EF2. We'll know more as damage assessments are conducted, but I tell you what, there are few things scarier than a nighttime tornado. You can't see it, but the essentially lightning that was just continuous lit up the skies and allowed us to see that tornado. Let me take you to Links 1 and show you. This is the path where a supercell that developed produced 7 tornadoes. It was not continuous, kind of up and down, but our Jeremy Carter was on that storm all the way, and we are thinking about everybody impacted by those storms and devastated that we lost Oklahomans. Taking you back, a few showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon, and by 7 to 8 o'clock, things really took off in the northwest near Tologa, Putnam, Fairview, and up to the north and east from there. Southwestern Oklahoma, no tornadoes for you all, and that's what we have right now. But this is one of those stronger storms that you saw video from our Jeremy Carter there. Look at the hook as it went right over Oriana and Cleo Springs. And that, again, was a very, very intense supercell that, again, produced a tornado. When we take a look at the rotation tracker, this is what we call shear. It essentially extends 80 to 90 miles from Tologa all the way up to the Kansas border. So a monster night of severe weather. Here on your Friday morning, we've almost made it to the weekend, guys, and we are severe clear. A few showers ongoing east of I-35 from Atoka to Colgate, Eufaula, Wetumpka up to Okmulgee, and dry in the Oklahoma City metro. South winds are gusty this morning. 66 is our temperature. The cloud cover from the overnight has cleared out, and it is a very warm start to the day with 60s and temperatures nearly 70 degrees down along the Red River. South winds gusting 20, 25 to 30 miles per hour in this afternoon brings a big warm up with very strong south winds and more sunshine in western Oklahoma. Here's our severe threat setup for today. The threat highest east of the dry line. We'll talk all about it. What are the chances for a storm here in Oklahoma City? That's coming up.
Now, following that big news out of northwest Oklahoma, a mother and a daughter killed in Major County after their car was hit by a tornado. This was right near Fairview.
Yeah, our Kylie Dedman joins us live there this morning. Kylie, you just spoke to the Major County Sheriff. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Colby, we actually have him here, so we'll give a live update on that. But we know last night there was multiple tornadoes that touched down, unfortunately, in this area. And unfortunately, like y'all just said, 2 Oklahomans, a mother and a daughter, did lose their lives last night. Now, I'm here with the sheriff, Anthony Robinson. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I know it has been a long night and going to be a long morning. Can you just, how are you doing and how is your team doing this morning?
We're doing as well as we can be. Anytime something like this happens, it's obviously hard on us. We're all humans just like everybody else. We're all very tired. Like I said, I started my day at 7 o'clock in the morning yesterday, and I'll be out here until we're done.
And obviously it's Oklahoma, but this never gets easier with trying to deal with tornadoes, even though it's something that we're used to. Walk me through kind of what the situation happened last night. You were watching the radar, watching the systems kind of roll in. What did that look like for you last night and for your team?
So my dispatch is very good at watching the weather and kind of keeping us all informed of what's going on. I received several phone calls from my dispatch as well as my spouse notified me that there was severe weather in the area. I don't have TV at my house, so and basically just kind of wait and see. So I have deputies that were patrolling out along with a lot of the local fire departments, and OHP and other agencies were out looking around, waiting to see what happened. Unfortunately, we did have tornadic activity, and then we all just kind of come together and try and keep everybody safe as possible.
And unfortunately, we did have 2 Oklahomans, a mother and a daughter, that lost their lives. They were driving in a car in this area. This is Highway 60 and County Road 2435. Talk to me about that. You were saying that they were on the phone with somebody, and then, service just went down and people were out here searching for them.
Yes, ma'am. So about the time that I rolled up here on scene, where we have a lot of power lines that are down and we're down on the highway, I was informed that we had some missing persons. They were driving down this road at some point and they were speaking on the phone with a loved one. They lost signal. I believe OHP contacted one of the dispatches and had the cell phone pinged, which is how we were able to locate the victims.
And speaking of those down power lines in this area, you said there's about 3 miles of down power lines, so you're really wanting people to avoid this area.
Yes, ma'am. It'll probably be after sunrise at least before they get the power lines up and over the highway. So it's a hazard to have people come down this way and then have to turn around and go back the other way.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you want our viewers to know, the community, Major County citizens to know about?
So we're all a very tight-knit family in Major County.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the closest community you'd ever come across in Oklahoma. On behalf of Major County and the Sheriff's Office, I would like to offer our heartfelt prayers and condolences to the family as they navigate this tragic time.
Absolutely. Well, Sheriff Robinson, thank you so much for this information and being with us this morning. Again, we are so sorry for losing those 2 Oklahomans, but like you said, y'all are a tight-knit family and just something we all just got to work together and be with together. So again, thank you for being with us this morning. Colby, Lacey, I'm going to send it back over to y'all. Reporting live out here in Major County, Kylie Dudman, Oklahoma's own News 9.
Kylie, we appreciate that report. Certainly thinking and praying about all those impacted in Major County this morning. We'll be checking in with Kylie throughout the morning. And by the way, we'll also push any updates right here and on the News 9 app and at news9.com.
Because it happened quick, right? I had to call my wife, call my dad, both. And it's just, pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
A major shakeup at the nation's capital as President Trump picks Oklahoma's own Senator Markwayne Mullin as the next Homeland Security Secretary.
He's one of Trump's longtime allies, now replacing the now former Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who's faced scrutiny over Immigration and Customs Enforcement, immigration raids, and tactics. Our Brianna Brown joins us with more on those tensions.
Markwayne Mullin has served as Oklahoma's junior U.S. Senator since 2023. President Trump announced that Mullin will take over as U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, which oversees border security, immigration enforcement, and disaster response, as well as other domestic security responsibilities. Now, according to a report from National Review, Trump was privately frustrated after Kristi Noem testified before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee that the president had advanced knowledge of a $220 million DHS advertising campaign tied to a contractor connected to one of her allies. Now, Mullin has consistently aligned himself with President Trump, earning a reputation as a steadfast supporter of the president. And during the State of the Union, he was caught on camera trying to take a sign away from a member that criticized the president.
We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland. And no matter if you support me, you don't support me, I'm going to be laser focused on getting that done.
Now, Mullin will start as acting DHS Secretary on March 31st, but he will still need to be confirmed by the Senate. Here in Oklahoma City, Brianna Brown for Oklahoma's own News 9.
Brianna, thank you. And we know Noam's new role is called the Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas. President Trump is expected to release more information tomorrow, but he did say that she will be in part a new security initiative focusing on the Western Hemisphere. Noam took to social media to thank the president for appointing her for that new role. Noam also said that she looks forward to, quote, dismantling cartels that have poured drugs into our nation.
Senator Mullen's new appointment means his Senate seat will now be up for grabs. What is next for that position? And the people already vying for the spot will explain the whole process coming up at 5:30 this morning.
Certainly some big changes, and we'll be following what it means for the Senate seat. The appointment, I think, would be likely coming from the governor, so a lot to talk about, and we're going to be following all of it. Right now, we're also following the severe weather threat for today. Let's turn to the Bob Mills Weather Center. Megan Gold standing by. Hey, Megan.
Hey, guys. So yesterday it was western Oklahoma, and we shift to the eastern side of the state as we go to this afternoon, this evening, and into the overnight. Oklahoma City kind of sandwiched in between. And while we don't want severe weather, we do so desperately need the rain. This afternoon will be very warm. The cold front in the northwest, the dry line surges in from the west as well. And temperatures warm with a south wind 35 to 40 miles per hour. Here's our severe zone for later this afternoon, evening into the overnight. I'll have a look at future next gen for you and also a recap of what happened last night. That's coming up right after this quick break. Don't go anywhere.
We want to get you ready for this severe weather active season already. You can meet our entire News 9 weather team, David, Lacey, Megan, all of our storm trackers, Mason Dunn, and Bob Mills, Sky News 9, all this weekend for the 10th annual Severe Weather Awareness Expo. It's tomorrow from 11 to 2 at Penn Square Mall. It's always a great event just to get some FaceTime with viewers. And my goodness, Megan, y'all will have so much to talk about.
We'll have a lot to talk about, that's for sure. I think it's safe to say spring is here. We have kicked things off early. Really signs of that over winter when we didn't have much of a winter, right? Temperatures were very warm. We had our winter storm and that was about it. And as soon as we started warming up and starting to get kind of more signs of these storm systems swinging in, it was very obvious we were going to kick things off early. Remember, we had 5 tornadoes back in the month of January, and for last night's round of storms, 7 preliminary tornadoes. Today does bring another severe weather risk. Western Oklahoma, it was about you last night and thinking about all of you impacted by the storms. Later today, a little bit of a different setup. We have our cold front that moves through overnight tonight. That moves into the north and west. The dry line surges in from the Texas Panhandle, and areas east of Oklahoma City will be under the gun for severe weather chances. I think really areas east of Oklahoma City and definitely areas in this orange. So it's a slight chance here in Oklahoma City. Really, we're just sandwiched in between 2 storm systems, and it does not look like we are getting much moisture. So that is not a good thing for us. Western Oklahoma, northwestern Oklahoma picked up really great rains. Of course, it came at the cost of severe weather, but I'll show you those totals here in just a second. If you're just now joining us from last night, 7 preliminary tornadoes. We'll have our Mason Dunn up in the sky later today, and we'll have a view of some of the damage from those storms. So things started off pretty quiet. 4, 5, 6 o'clock, we had a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, nothing severe. And then by the time we went into the 8 o'clock hour, things blossomed. Those low-level dynamics really kicked into gear. The low-level jet, we had a lot of moisture. We had a warm front that these storms were interacting with. And watch what happens by the time we hit about 7 to 8 o'clock over Tologa. That supercell became tornadic and lifted up to the north and to the east and rotated for about 70 to 80 miles. So zooming in, watch for the hook here right over Oriena and Clio Springs. I mean, how scary is that? So it was for sure a rotating storm that produced at least 1 tornado. And again, up and down, we had 7 tornadoes total. So this is showing you where we had shear and rotation all the way from areas near Tologa and Sealing all the way through Oriena and up to the north and east, a good 70 to 80 miles. In terms of rainfall amounts, you can tell where those storms traveled, anywhere from 2 to 3 to, in some spots, 4 inches of rain. Helena, about 3.5 inches. Oriena, anywhere from 2 to 3. And then you go farther to the south and slim to none. So it was kind of this fine line all the way back down to the south and west, Leedy to Morewood to Cheyenne. And when we take a look at your totals, they're slowly coming on here. But again, up to about an inch, inch and a half, and in some areas up to about 2 inches, but not quite as high as areas to the north and west. Here on your Friday morning, we are mostly dry, scattered showers off into eastern Oklahoma. A few rumbles of thunder with some of this, but most of this is just light to moderate rain, and areas across the south and east have already picked up quite a bit of rain so far this week. Here's the live look from our Lucky Stars Skycam network. A strong south wind this morning that will only increase as the sun comes up and we bring in some of those winds aloft down to the surface. 66 is our temperature right now, 75% humidity, and temperatures very warm, low to mid to upper 60s in the metro with winds at about 30 miles per hour here in Oklahoma City, down to Rush Springs, Apache 25 miles per hour, and Hobart 30 miles per hour. Temperatures statewide, upper 50s and low 60s back to the west, 30s and 40s in the Panhandle right now. And statewide, winds are breezy to gusty, a little lighter off on the eastern sides of the state, and a whole lot of moisture. And those storms last night definitely fed off of that moisture that was really high for early March. Highs this afternoon, very warm, mid to upper 70s and low to mid to upper 80s with those south winds gusting to 35 and 40 miles per hour. Now let's talk about the severe threat for later this afternoon and evening. Only about a 20% chance for a storm here in Oklahoma City. Areas east of Oklahoma City bump up to a 30 to a 40% chance. and even higher to the east. And these are going to be scattered severe storms. So they're not going to be quite as intense and isolated like our storms were last night. So here we are at 3 to 4 to 5 o'clock. Thunderstorms Ardmore, McAllister, off into far eastern Oklahoma. And then we get another round overnight tonight that comes in from the north, right along the Turner Turnpike and down to the south and to the east. So we're talking large hail, damaging winds, and there is a low tornado threat. Not quite as high as what we had yesterday. And again, that's going to be areas off to our east. Tomorrow, we'll start the day with a chance for some showers and thunderstorms, cooler from that cold front with a north breeze, a 40% chance tomorrow morning through the afternoon in Oklahoma City, and higher chances to the south and east. Your Sunday, a big warm up. The sunshine is back. We haven't had sunshine all week long here in Oklahoma City, so get outdoors, enjoy it. 81 on Monday, and our next severe storm chance comes in on Tuesday. Guys, back over to you.
Some other top stories this morning. Enid police say a woman was shot and killed by her estranged husband in a murder-suicide. Investigators say they found Kendra Smith with multiple gunshot wounds near 23rd and Cedar on Wednesday night. She died at the hospital. Enid officers say they then found Jeffrey Smith dead in his truck at a nearby gas station. Police believe that one was a suicide.
A former assistant district attorney is found guilty for possessing child pornography. Kevin Etherington served as the assistant district attorney for Payne and Logan counties for 8 years. State investigators found 153 sexually explicit photos of young girls on his devices, they say back in 2022. A jury found him guilty yesterday. He will be sentenced in May. A state effort to create open primaries in Oklahoma falls short. The Secretary of State's office says advocates did not get enough signatures to put State Question 836 on the ballot. That would have put all candidates on the same primary ballot regardless of their political party. We'll be back with another check of weather. We'll hear Megan's forecast, what you can expect today, right after this. Welcome back. We have some breaking news right here at 525. You're taking a live look from our news tracker, Lex Stanfield. He just arrived at a reported fire right near Southeast 44th and Sunny Lane Road. It looks as if we don't see any active flames here or even smoke, so it looks like fire crews were able to get any reported fire out. It looks like he's maybe taking a look at some damage. Looks like maybe some smoke damage on this building. He's just getting there, talking with authorities. We'll be bringing you those updates if anybody had to be displaced or the extent of that damage. We'll bring you those updates right here and on the News 9 app.
Well, if you're wondering what it's like to cover severe weather here at News 9 as far as our shift work, look at this. Meteorologist Lacey Swope posted this picture yesterday showing how she is ready to get called in, kind of firefighter style, where you just step into your britches and pull them up, ready to go. She's got her shoes, her hairspray, and her earrings ready to go. It is serious business around here when severe weather calls.
It's such a brilliant idea. When I saw that, I was like, I need to do that with my clothes every morning.
I step out of my clothes like that.
Yeah,
just get the day off me.
Like a
but she steps into them.
I'm like my children, like just leaving a trail of clothes to the house. Should maybe be a little more organized like Lacey.
Megan, what do you think about that picture?
I love it.
I know.
love that we all have our roles and it looks so different. So Lacey has to go home and nap and a lot of times come back. I'm the designated survivor that is here the morning after and gets to recap exactly what happened. So it's really fun to watch the whole team come together when we have a night like last night.
Yeah.
Thankfully, here on your Friday morning, things are so much quieter. We do have a few showers in the state right now off to the east and the southeast, and most of today will be quiet, but we do have severe risks that come back into the forecast. This time, instead of western Oklahoma, it will be across eastern Oklahoma, and that does include a very slight chance in the Oklahoma City metro. We'll talk all about it coming up here right after this quick break.
You're watching Oklahoma's own News 9 This Morning.
Good morning. Right now at 5:30, at least 2 people are dead this morning, killed by tornadoes in Fairview.
Just heartbreaking news for that family. We have crews live in Fairview speaking with the sheriff, getting more details. First, we do want to get over to meteorologist Megan Gold. She's in the Bob Mills Weather Center. Megan, it sounds like at least 7 tornadoes touched down.
At least 7, and we will have our Mason Dunn and Bob Mills Sky News 9 up in the air later this morning when the sun rises to get an aerial view of the damage. But check out this video from our Jeremy Carter. Our entire fleet of storm trackers were out from the southwest, the west, the northwest, keeping you covered and updated. And this is a terrifying shot there with essentially continuous lightning lighting up the skies and showing you what looks like a wedge tornado. We're thinking potentially an EF2 tornado, and that's kind of just a preliminary thought. So we'll see as damage assessments confirm exactly what that tornado will be rated. Let me show you this hook echo feature on the radar. This was at 8:35 last night as this thunderstorm traveled from the southwest sides of Fairview, traveled right over Highway 60. And look at that hook feature. That is so often what you think of when you think of tornadoes and those mesocyclone features showing up on the radar. There's the hail core, and this thing just really was the main game in town. And we did end up with 7 tornadoes from that supercell. So taking you back, showers and thunderstorms through the day, pretty wimpy, but by the time it got to 8 o'clock, things really took off over Tologa and up into northern Oklahoma. Everything over southwestern Oklahoma, we did have some tornado warnings, but no confirmed tornadoes there. And of course, everything stayed well west and north of the Oklahoma City metro. So here are your 7 preliminary tornadoes kind of in the line there from that supercell, and several multi-vortex tornadoes as well. When you look at rainfall amounts, here's the silver lining: anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rain. As you can tell, where those really the strongest of the storms traveled from the southwest up to the north and east and back into western Oklahoma, anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. So not quite as much rain in the southwest. Here's a live look from our Lucky Stars Skycam network, our Chickasha camera. 66 is our temperature, very warm out the door. 50s and 60s, a strong south wind, and we have a lot of humidity out the door as well. This afternoon, more severe risks as the dry line surges in from the west. We'll talk about what to expect and what is the chance of that here in the Oklahoma City metro. It's coming up.
Now to that heartbreaking story out of Major County. We know a mother and daughter lost their lives when their car was hit by a tornado last night near Fairview.
Let's go to our Kylie Dedman. She joins us live on Highway 60, very close to where this happened. Kylie, you've been speaking with the Major County Sheriff. What have you learned this morning?
Yeah, Colby, he was telling me that they are a very close-knit community out here in Major County, and that is just heartbreaking. The community's now having to pick up pieces, pick up debris, and kind of just go and rework and re-understand kind of what to do next and where to move forward. Now, I kind of want to show you some of the damage that is out here in this area. Again, this is Highway 60 and County Road 2435. We can see tons of power lines down in this area at this intersection. And then, of course, going down on Highway 60 and down on County Road 2435, there's more down power lines. Officials were saying it's about 3 miles long worth of down power lines. And if we kind of come over here, you can see just a little bit, crews are actively working on Highway 60 right here. The sheriff is blocking the roads. People have been trying to come in this area, but he's having to turn people around again just because of these down power lines. But they're actively working. But it's just a heartbreaking story. We know at least 7 tornadoes touched down in this area, and unfortunately 2 Oklahomans, 2 Major County community members, unfortunately lost their lives last night. They were traveling in their vehicle, and take a listen to what the sheriff told me about that situation. They were in their car. Do you know where they were traveling to or from or anything like that?
I don't know where they were traveling to or from. I know that they had been on cellular phone with one of their family members and had lost connection. We believe that the vehicle was hit directly with a tornado.
Now, at this time, they are the only known fatalities and also only known injuries in this area. We also know that there was a semi that rolled over on Highway 412 last night as well, but again, no injuries reported from that. Now the sheriff is wanting people to avoid this area. Again, this is at County Road 2435 and Highway 60 in this area due to the downed power lines and telephone poles in this area. Reporting live here in Major County, Kylie Duttman, Oklahoma's own News 9.
Well, Kylie, thank you. We'll continue to check back in with Kylie, and we'll push any more updates right here on the News 9 app and news9.com.
I just thought he'd stay out there and, be a plumber the rest of his life. I never saw him going into politics,
But a dream can come true for anyone, and you just have to believe.
That's the community in Westville, Oklahoma, excited to see one of their own possibly make it to the president's cabinet. Senator Markwayne Mullin has been picked by President Trump to be the next DHS secretary. Mullin grew up there in Adair County alongside 6 siblings and all their friends. Mullin's dad tells us he doesn't do interviews, but he sure is proud of his son.
At the Oklahoma State Capitol, there's mixed reaction from lawmakers over Senator Mullin's new appointment. Taking a live look at the Capitol from our Lucky Star Skycam network this morning, Governor Kevin Stitt says, quote, "There isn't a better choice to lead DHS. Oklahoma has been an example to the nation for smart immigration enforcement, and Markwayne will bring that common sense to DHS."
We also spoke with leaders at the state capitol just moments after the news broke. Some of them actually found out the same time that we did.
Kind of surprised that he would give up a U.S. Senate seat for a position like this. That's probably a three-year term in the as being that as a new president. May or may not want to. It gets a little more dicey about what your future is, but it's a great opportunity for him.
Is the new Secretary of Homeland Security. Oh, Lord. He comes back to his home state and talks to people who have been impacted by ICE and the various challenges that communities have been facing under her leadership and tried to do better. I worry that may not be the case.
A big question now is what happens to Mullin's U.S. Senate seat?
Yeah, the Oklahoma governor would be allowed to appoint that role thanks to state law. Our Capitol reporter Haley Hetrick breaks down that process this morning.
Thanks to a state law passed back in 2021, the governor does have the ability to appoint a temporary replacement, but there are quite a few stipulations when it comes to that appointment.
That was written by myself and Speaker Hilbert long before we had these titles, and it was just to address the fact that we were one of only a few states that didn't have the governor have appointment power.
The goal was to avoid a months-long gap in representation and save taxpayers the roughly $4 million it would cost to run a special election. Governor Kevin Stitt said in a statement, "I'll be looking to appoint a strong, small government conservative voice to support President Trump and protect Oklahoma's way of life. Whoever the governor appoints must be a registered Republican, and the temporary senator cannot run for the seat in the next election. Whoever's appointed would have to sign an affidavit with the Oklahoma Secretary of State promising they will not run for the U.S. Senate in November."
My goal was to make sure that appointment was not the governor being kingmaker and giving somebody the power of the incumbency, but that it's a placeholder.
Now, some have questioned, can Governor Stitt appoint himself to the role? The answer is no. But since whoever is serving next would only serve for 6 months, Stitt could run for Senate in November. At the Capitol, for Oklahoma's Own, I'm Haley Hetrick.
And some possible names have already been floated for who will replace Senator Mullin's spot there in the Senate. Congresswoman Stephanie Bice, State Senator Dusty Devers have both shared interest in possibly running for that seat. Our political analyst Scott Mitchell says that Governor Stitt may look beyond those already in D.C., like his longtime friend and Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell.
It's going to be interesting, the shuffling, who gets named and then who decides to run. It was so interesting watching the coverage yesterday. Markwayne Mullin looked shocked.
Yeah.
He really got that phone call about 10 minutes before it was announced. And I think he was still trying to just soak it all in.
When the rumor started coming out from National Review that he was being floated out there, that people were talking about him, he said, "I haven't talked to the president all week."
Oh my goodness.
And so, yeah, I imagine it would be shocking.
And then the phone call came.
Yeah.
We'll be following that story.
Yeah, we're also following the latest when it comes to the weather. Another severe weather threat today after at least 7 tornadoes. Preliminary estimates right now, Megan, touched down in northwest Oklahoma.
Yes, and the threat actually shifts to the opposite side of the state, mainly east of Oklahoma City. There is a slight chance that one or two of those storms takes off near the metro, but we will watch very, very closely. Again, all hazards possible, up to tennis ball size hail, damaging winds, and a tornado threat as well. We'll talk all about it coming up here right after this quick break.
Welcome back. We want to remind you we are live right now on the News 9 YouTube channel.
Oh boy.
This is some folks that served in presidential cabinets. There's the right full screen. They are not live on YouTube, but we are. And you can just scan this QR code. It'll take you there. You can subscribe, leave your comments, questions in the chat. About 250 people tuning in this morning, already getting some comments asking about the weather last night. Certainly that's what we're talking about today. Big time. 7 at least tornadoes so far, preliminary estimates coming in. And so that's what we're focused on. 2 people unfortunately lost their lives in the storms.
Some of the videos of the nighttime tornadoes are just incredible. It's so scary when they happen at night.
At night, it makes the threat almost 2 times what it is during the day. You can't see them. Thankfully, we did have continual lightning and continuous lightning, so when the sky is lit up, you can see it. And our entire team of storm trackers were out. We knew yesterday would be a big day. We had talked about it for quite some time. We had a warm front that was lifting in, instability from sunshine during the day, warm temperatures, and we love, as we always say, your videos and your pictures that come in. This one from Jessica near Fairview, and I think this is from like a front porch camera. Look on the left side there of that video of that tornado. So on the ground there near Fairview, that was one of our at least 7 tornadoes. This one from Fairview as well, out in the rural part there, and you can see the tornado on the ground. We also had some hail and some of these stronger thunderstorms, actually stronger supercells that produce these tornadoes with very strong updrafts. We had up to tennis ball and maybe even an isolated baseball-sized hail. This from Ceiling, Tara sending this in, and then Teresa there with probably some golf ball to nearly tennis ball-sized hail. So last night, if you're just now joining us, 7 preliminary tornadoes, and this was a supercell that developed down to the south and west of Fairview, and it was not on the ground continuously, but kind of touched up and down as it traveled all the way nearly to the Kansas state line. So let me just take you back. This all happened while most of us were kind of wrapping up the day and even going to sleep. Thunderstorms took off, quickly became supercells in the Texas Panhandle, lifting up towards Sayre, towards Elk City. And by the time they got to Tologa, right around 8 o'clock last night, things really intensified. And just to show you one of these features of a hook echo. Look how terrifying this is. There's the hail core in the black. Here's Oriana, Clio Springs, and this is when it was definitely very obvious we were in a dangerous situation. So our Jeremy Carter was on this storm, and there is that very impressive hook echo feature. This morning, things are quiet, nothing severe in the state, and we do have a few ongoing showers in far eastern Oklahoma, from Atoka to Colgate, Kiowa, McAllister, off to Eufaula and Muskogee. Dry in the Oklahoma City metro, and our cloud cover from the overnight hours has cleared out. And really the unfortunate thing, nobody wants severe weather, but at least western Oklahoma picked up rain. Eastern Oklahoma picks up rain today with severe weather threats. In Oklahoma City, we are sandwiched right in between the two, meaning more than likely we don't see much rain at all, which isn't a good deal because we do have drought ongoing. Here's a live look from our Lucky Stars Skycam network. 64, a very warm temperature here at 5:47 on your Friday morning, almost to the weekend, guys. Low 60s from Elk City to Clinton to Hobart. Off on the eastern side, Shawnee, McLeod down to Ada, mid to upper 60s. Stillwater 67 degrees and Ardmore 68. We have 30s and 40s out in the Panhandle. South winds are very gusty this morning, 25 to 30 miles per hour as the sun comes up, and we mix some of those stronger winds down to the surface. We'll have winds that'll gust to 40 miles per hour today. The dry line, I don't know if you can see it, but it's out in the Texas Panhandle. That advances eastward through the day today, and that will be that initiation zone for thunderstorms to take off later today. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, more sunshine in western Oklahoma today. Temperatures in the upper 80s. For those of you in Altus, down to Hollis and Mangum, 78 in Oklahoma City today, and a little cooler back behind the cold front. I know we picked up rain yesterday, but with the incoming dry air and also those strong winds, there is a low to a moderate fire danger. Now, more about severe threats. Here's our severe zone. Oklahoma City, we're on the far western fringe of this. I think most of the storms stay off to our east. Highest threats from Ardmore, Durant, McAllister, over to Sallisaw and Miami, and there is a low tornado threat. A 20% chance for a storm here in Oklahoma City. These will be scattered severe storms, and walking you through future next gen, a slight chance for an isolated shower through the morning and midday. And then this afternoon, thunderstorms take off, lifting in from the south to the north, and those will be the storms that will be capable of wind, hail, and even a tornado So an additional line of storms comes in overnight tonight. Those could be severe as well. Of course, Jed will be here tracking those for you. Cold front comes through overnight tonight, and tomorrow is a cooler day, back to the 50s with a north wind that is breezy to gusty. And here are your rain chances tomorrow morning into the afternoon. Sunday brings a big time warm up, and we have another storm system that comes in for your Tuesday that brings additional severe weather threats. Until then, guys, enjoy the quiet weekend. Make plans to be outdoors on Sunday. Sunshine and 71 degrees.
Your time now at 5:50 on the dot. Time for a quick traffic check. And here's a live look this morning at several different thoroughfares through the metro, including I-40 and I-44, the big box there. Traffic is picking up. No crashes to pass along just yet. Hopefully it stays that way. We do have a heads up for Midwest City drivers. ODOT says a closed lane of I-40 westbound from Douglas to I-240 will reopen in about 10 minutes at 6 o'clock, as well as the on-ramps in the area. They'll be back open after they were closed last night for striping.
Still ahead here on News 9, 2 Oklahoma women heading to Shark Tank with a product inspired by hardworking moms. How their friendship brought them there. It's right after this. Welcome back. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel. We ask you to subscribe, to leave your comments, your questions. Here's what you said. Anthony says, Good morning, news team, and happy Friday.
Friday.
Certainly
We
is.
haven't said that today.
I
have
know.
we? It's
Well,
kinda
it's
hard
been a tough
to.
Friday.
A lot of headlines this morning.
I
Anthony,
know.
thanks for pointing that out. Good morning to you. And then Renee is in the chat this morning. Renee says, please be safe tonight, Oklahoma. Great point, Renee, because we're watching some more weather. But you really said it's going to be east of kind of the Oklahoma City metro today.
Most data, I mean, maybe a thunderstorm sneaks in,
Yeah.
but most data and really the environment that's most favorable is going to be east of Oklahoma City.
There you
So
go.
our eastern viewing area will be included in that. That means storm trackers will be out. Weather team will be here keeping an eye on it. Today is a very warm day for us, and we will still have mostly cloudy skies. Guys, it's been just like kind of a cloudy week. By the time we get to Sunday, we'll have abundant sunshine. So make plans to be outdoors on Sunday. 64 degrees right now, and here are your highs for this afternoon. Our cold front that moves through overnight tonight will build into the northwest later this afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s, the low to mid 80s, and a very strong south wind. The dry line surges in from the west. Very, very dry air back behind it, which will elevate the fire danger. And there's our zone today, starting at 3 o'clock for scattered severe thunderstorms, wind, hail, and even another tornado or two possible, guys.
I know you'll be following Megan. Thank you. Hey, something inspiring to start your morning. 2 Oklahoma women are heading to Shark Tank with a product in honor of hardworking moms.
Christine Fears and Suzanne Boyd met on a blind double date in Tulsa. They became friends and even had their babies 5 days apart. Well, they started creating a stain remover together. They're like, we got to get these tough stains out. And it's actually inspired by Suzanne's mom, who passed away unexpectedly.
My mom was just constantly caring for us, just in little ways. It seemed like no big deal, but when you add them all together, it's a huge deal. It's just a lifetime of caring.
Suzanne and Christine will head to Southern California with their stain remover for their audition next week on Shark Tank. We are wishing them the best. I feel like it's got to be a good product if it comes from moms, and moms are usually saying, I need something that does this, and I think I could do it better. So I hope that they win on Shark Tank.
Something to get the spit up off the shoulder, right?
Yeah,
That's
you've got kids, you know you need one. That's
absolutely.
right.
Hey, we're watching the weather. We're going to have your forecast here in just a little bit. Our team coverage also continues after half a dozen tornadoes touched down in northwest Oklahoma. Our crews will join us live in Fairview, where a mother and daughter were killed by a tornado. We'll be back with the latest right here at 6 o'clock.
Right now on News 9 at 6 a.m., a mother and daughter are killed when their car is hit by a tornado in Major County. A live report from Fairview coming up.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Megan Gold. After at least 7 tornadoes yesterday, we have a threat for more severe weather, this time on the eastern side of the state. We'll talk about when and where, what are the threats. Your weekend forecast is coming up.
I had to call my dad, and because it happened quick, right? I had to call my wife and call my dad both. And it's just, pretty humbling.
Big shakeup at the nation's capital. U.S. Senator Markwayne Mullin set to replace Kristi Noem as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. I'm Colby Thielen. The steps it would take to fill that spot, the Senator Mullin will leave behind.
Live from downtown Oklahoma City, Oklahoma's own News 9 starts now.
Good Friday morning. Glad you're with us. The two major stories we're really following this morning, the big shakeup with Senator Mullin and, of course, the tornadoes. At least 7 hit so far.
Yeah, and unfortunately, 2 people lost their lives. It's just heartbreaking. It's the reality of when we cover severe weather here in Oklahoma. Also, a lot of damage left behind, too.
Certainly is. They're going to be cleaning up, especially as the sun comes up. And we have to worry about severe weather chances today as well. Let's turn to the Bob Mills Weather Center. Megan Gold standing by. Megan?
Good morning, guys. Absolutely devastated that we lost 2 Oklahomans last night. And again, there is a threat for more severe weather today. What you're seeing here is video from our Jeremy Carter, who was up in the Fairview area as he captured one of those very strong tornadoes that developed. Look at that wedge there with continuous lightning lighting up the skies and making it very obvious where that tornado was. We know many Oklahomans are waking up to damage this morning, and we are definitely thinking about you. We'll have our Bob Mills Sky News 9 pilot Mason Dunn up in the air starting at 7 o'clock this morning with updates and views from the sky. To show you where those 7 tornadoes were, they started down on Highway 60 to the southwest of Fairview and all the way up to the north and east from there. So a supercell that produced tornadoes just on and off. They would lift and it would come back down. So we started the day with scattered showers and thunderstorms. It was pretty quiet, and by about 7:30 to 8 o'clock, things took off, and they took off in a big way with numerous tornado warnings in effect. So there it was, right over to Loga, your severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warned by the time it was just southwest of Fairview, over Oriena to Helena and to Jet, and all the way up into Kansas early this morning. To show you the storm that our Jeremy Carter was on, look at the hook there on that feature. Here's Oriena and Cleo Springs, and southwest of Fairview again is where that tornado really began to strengthen and take off. And to show you the shear rate or the path of that rotation, it was a good 70 miles long from Highway 60 all the way up towards the Kansas border. So that was a big time supercell. Here on your Friday morning, we are free of any severe weather. A few very light showers down to the south and east, but dry for most of the state. And there is a live look from our Lucky Star Skycam network. 64 degrees with some cloud cover around. Temperatures very warm and strong south winds. Now this afternoon is warm and windy, and we have more severe weather chances. We will talk all about it coming up here in Big Weather.
Well, the big story as you wake up this morning, just heartbreaking news. A mother and daughter are killed when their car is hit by a tornado last night in Fairview. We got the confirmation from the sheriff early this morning. Our Kylie Dedman is live in Fairview with some new details for us. Kylie.
Yeah, Lacey, something that the sheriff is really wanting people to just know and be aware of is to avoid this area. This is Highway 60 and County Road 2435, and it's also the area where unfortunately 2 Oklahomans, 2 major county citizens, a mother and a daughter, unfortunately lost their lives last night. They were traveling in their car on the phone with somebody when they lost service, and then that's when that person contacted dispatch because they knew something went wrong. Now, we actually spoke with the sheriff about that situation, so just take a listen to what he had to say.
We had several agencies out here. We had Oklahoma Highway Patrol, Oklahoma Game Wardens, Major County Sheriff's Office. So the information got out there.
Mm-hmm.
I believe OHP actually pinged the cell phone, which is how we located them.
And I mean, it's never easy. I mean, yes, it's Oklahoma, we're used to this weather, but it never gets any easier to track it in any way. Yeah, so that was me talking to Sheriff Robinson with Major County, and he was just saying it's just hard. This is a tight-knit community. They are a family out here. Now, at this time, it is reported that only 2 fatalities, which is that mother and the daughter. We're still working to learn their identities at this time. There's been no other reported injuries. We do know that there was a semi rolled over last night on Highway 412, but again, no injuries reported there. Now, as people are waking up this morning, they're going to have to be picking up the pieces, picking up debris. And again, the sheriff wanted to remind me to tell everybody to avoid this area. Again, this is County Road 2435 and Highway 60. You can see behind me, we do have down power lines in this intersection here, and of course down the road. And then just coming a little further down, you can see we have some crews actively working in the field and again on Highway 60 trying to repair those power lines down and the telephone poles that are also down in this area, and then picking up any just leftover debris. But again, just avoiding this area. We can actually just come back out. We had another car pull up. This is something that we've been seeing all morning long. Cars are trying to travel on Highway 60, and the sheriff is out actually talking with somebody right now, and they're going to say, hey, you need to turn around. So avoid this area. Again, this is Highway 60 and County Road 2435. Avoid it. Power lines are down. You're not going to be able to cross and get through this area. And so that's just something to definitely want people to know about. Just again, just avoid this area. That car is going to have to turn around here soon, but we're actively working on new information and again working to learn the identities of that mother and daughter that unfortunately passed away in their car from the tornado that hit last night here in Fairview in Major County. So we'll keep you updated as we learn more. But reporting live, Kylie Dedman, Oklahoma's own News 9.
Kylie, thank you. She's in Fairview this morning. This is a few miles west of Fairview, and our thoughts and prayers with that hurting family this morning of the mother and daughter. If we find out who they are, if that's released, we will keep you updated on air and at news9.com.
6:07 your time right now. Let's take a look across the metro here on our Lucky Star Skycam network. You're taking a look at the Northwest Expressway and Lake Hefner Parkway. That's in your top left. Then we have, let's see, I-44 and I-40, as well as the Broadway extension. That's in your bottom left. And then our Christensen Cam, that is the Turnpike. So things moving along smoothly. No major wrecks here in the metro that are going to slow you down this morning, at least on major interstates. We'll, of course, bring you any updates throughout the morning commute.
And we're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland. And no matter if you support me, you don't support me, I'm going to be laser focused on getting that done.
President Donald Trump announces Senator Markwayne Mullin will soon replace Kristi Noem as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, pending that Senate confirmation. He made the announcement on social media yesterday. President Trump says that Senator Mullin has done a tremendous job in representing Oklahoma. Now, the big question, what's next for Mullin's state seat, or his Senate seat, I should say? Thanks to a law from 2021, Governor Kevin Stitt can now appoint a new person to fill that role.
And whoever the governor picks will be the third person, actually, to fill that single term that was originally held by Senator Jim Inhofe. News 9's Capitol reporter Haley Hetrick has more this morning on the next steps and reaction from state leaders.
There was some mixed reactions from leaders here at the state capitol. We were talking with them just minutes after this news broke.
Kind of surprised that he would give up a U.S. Senate seat for a position like this. That's probably a three-year term in the as being that as a new president. May or may not want to. It gets a little more dicey about what your future is, but it's a great opportunity for him.
And all of his background, I think he's somebody could step into a role that's a very heated place for our country right now, and would be a great asset to the United States.
That was from Republican state leaders, while state Democrats criticized Mullin, saying he has aligned himself with Trump's most extreme policies in the U.S. Senate. Governor Kevin Stitt said in a statement, Markwayne Mullin has been a fighter for Oklahoma and will continue to fight to keep our nation secure. He adds that Stitt is looking to appoint a strong, small government conservative voice who will support President Trump and protect Oklahoma's way of life. Now, thanks to a 2021 state law, Governor Stitt does have the power to appoint a temporary replacement. That person must be a registered Republican, and the temporary senator cannot run for the seat in the November election. Stitt cannot appoint himself to this role, but if he wanted to, he could run for U.S. Senate in November. At the Capitol for Oklahoma's Own, I'm Haley Hetrick.
The governor will have 30 days after the seat is vacated to choose a replacement. He has not given any hint on who that could be at this point.
Some more reactions coming in this morning, including from Senator Mullen's Oklahoma colleague in the Senate, Senator James Langford, who says in part, quote, "Congratulations to my good friend and fellow Oklahoman Senator Markwayne Mullen. Cindy and I are praying for you, Christy, and your family as you take on this new role. I fully support you."
I also reached out to the Cherokee Nation. You know, he is a Cherokee citizen, and the tribe is so proud. I want to read a quick statement from the principal chief. He says, "This is a mark of high esteem for our tribe. It stands as a testament of the resilience, capability, and enduring impact of our people." So I just wanted to share that from the Native American side of things, and we're just going to be covering that from all angles. It was a big story yesterday.
A lot of folks feeling proud in his small town of Westville.
Yeah,
you know,
small population.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to hear from them coming up a little bit later this morning. Right now, we want to turn to the Bob Mills Weather Center. Before you go, got to be weather aware today, Megan.
More threats again today, unfortunately. We'll have thunderstorms with us overnight tonight, and then by Saturday morning through midday, we dry it out, and the rest of your weekend looks amazing. We just got to get through another 24 hours or so. This morning, temperatures in the 60s, very warm, a slight chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. And from the west last night to the east this afternoon, evening, and overnight tonight, we will talk all about our severe weather threat round 2 coming up.
This morning, we're hearing from immigration attorneys after Markwayne Mullen is chosen to be the next Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. In just a few moments, why they say very little is likely to change.
Megan, Lacey, the entire News 9 weather team at the 10th Annual Severe Weather Awareness Expo. It's tomorrow. The nation's largest team of storm trackers, Mason Dunn and Bob Mills Sky News 9, all at the Penn Square Mall from 11 to 2 p.m. It's coming up tomorrow, and I know you guys are going to be pretty worn out by the time you get to the mall tomorrow, but there's certainly going to be a lot to discuss.
You guys have hundreds of people that swing by, maybe thousands. Who knows?
We're so grateful, and I know they keep a tab on that number, but the line is so crazy long. It's kind of overwhelming to look down.
See how many
but
people.
We're grateful.
Yes.
You know, it's so fun, and that's my favorite part of the job is meeting everybody at home. A lot to talk about, especially as it's very obvious that spring is here, and after last night's round and potentially today's round, we'll have a lot to dissect with those folks. So. Yeah,
no shortage of topics.
Fun.
Exactly.
No, exactly. So we'd love to see you again 11 to 2. If you are getting the kids ready for school this morning, we are dry. Severe weather has moved out. Your bus stop forecast looks really, really great. There are a few showers down in southeastern Oklahoma, cloud cover, and we will be watching for a few thunderstorms. Again, severe threats will be mainly east of I-35 for today. So for some folks on the east sides of the metro, Shawnee, McLeod, and east from there, you'll want to be dialed in for the bus stop hours. In Oklahoma City, a very slight chance for a thunderstorm and a slight chance for an isolated shower or two this morning. So here's the statewide view. We do have wind advisories in the Panhandle for how strong our winds will be today. And there are your showers down in McAllister. So taking you back, thunderstorms went up during about 7, 8 o'clock. And by then it was game on with this supercell that produced 7 tornadoes. We did have tornado warnings down in the Texas Panhandle, and as those moved into the southwest, we did not have any confirmed tornadoes from Sayre out to Elk City, but of course crews will be out and really analyzing these spots just to make sure. But right now, here is our preliminary count of tornadoes from Highway 60 just southwest of Fairview, and this supercell as it went up north and east, there are your 7 tornadoes. Helena over to Nash and just down to the southwest of Medford. So showing you that one supercell that turned severe over Putnam to Taloga to Sealing, and then eventually tornado warned near Fairview, Oriena, and up to Helena and north and east from there. So showing you this one specific shot here of this hook feature. This was a tornado warned storm that our Jeremy Carter was on, and for good reason. Check out this video. We had nearly continuous lightning, a wedge tornado there, and I think more than likely this will be rated an EF2. We'll have to wait for the damage assessments to be done, but this is just kind of jaw-dropping video there from our Jeremy Carter. And guys, our entire fleet of storm trackers were out. Brandon Pennell, Val and Amy Castor. We had our Kyle Wilson out as well. So the whole team, we're so grateful for the work that they do keeping you safe, and really all across western Oklahoma. They were ready for when and where these storms fired and to really keep track of what they did. We did have some hail, especially in that supercell that produced the tornadoes, a very strong updraft, hail to the size of tennis balls, maybe an isolated baseball, but definitely golf ball to tennis ball size hail. So as we go through the day today, we will watch for additional severe threats, but showing you shear track. So this is the rotation track. This storm rotated for more than 70 miles. That is significant. That is big time. And we picked up 2 to 3 to even 4 inches of rain as that thunderstorm traveled up to the north and east. And then back down into western Oklahoma, southwestern Oklahoma, your rainfall amounts weren't quite that significant, but anywhere from 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 of an inch to 1 to 2 inches of rain near the Cheyenne area. Here's the live look on our Lucky Stars Skycam network. 64 is our temperature right now. A little cloud cover overhead and temperatures very, very warm. We're humid out the door as well. South winds cranking in Gulf moisture gusts to 30 and 35 miles per hour, and winds will only increase as we go through the day today. Very warm, warmer than yesterday. A high of 78 in Oklahoma City, 80 in Clinton, and 87 in Altus, just a couple of degrees cooler off to the east. Our cold front that moves through tonight moves into the northwest later this afternoon, and the dry line sets up in western Oklahoma. As the dry line advances east, this brings in very dry air in western Oklahoma. So with those very strong winds, we will watch for elevated fire danger. Thankfully, you've picked up really good rains here over the past 48 hours, but still something to watch with the ongoing drought. Here's today's setup. A slight chance in Oklahoma City. Really, I think thunderstorms are more likely east of I-35 from Ardmore, Durant, and off into eastern Oklahoma. The threat threat is higher and the tornado threat is low. So I don't think today is as big of a risk as what we had last night, but we will still watch it very, very closely. A chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm through the day today, and then our scattered thunderstorms take off in the southwest later this afternoon and evening, with another round of storms trying to work its way in from the north overnight tonight from Oklahoma City to Tulsa, and those could be severe as well. We'll watch that very closely. What I'm showing you here is future CAPE. That's convective available potential energy, essentially instability and fuel for your thunderstorms, and there will be plenty of that as we go through the day. So here are your chances for thunderstorms this afternoon and evening, and then tomorrow we turn much cooler behind the cold front, and the chance for rain tomorrow morning through the afternoon is highest down in southeastern Oklahoma. Guys, another chance for severe weather next Tuesday, but overall the week looks much quieter than this week. Back over to you.
All right, your time now, 6:21. A quick traffic check this morning. And here's a live look at the Skydance Bridge. That's I-40, and we're starting to break daylight. That's a beautiful shot right there. We're also hearing that I-40 looks really good as far as crashes. Nothing to report. Hopefully it stays that way. Driving happy on a Friday. We're back with more after this. All right, this morning we are getting some viewer video of the Fairview tornado. Look at the far left side of your screen. Jessica sent us this from Fairview. She says her exact location is County Road 242 and East 58. She said just incredible in the dark, but then when you see the lightning just light up that funnel, Just incredible video. If you have video or pics, send them to us at pics@news9.net. My goodness, just those nighttime tornadoes, Colby.
It's so terrifying. I can't imagine looking at my Ring doorbell camera or whatever camera this is and being like, oh my gosh, that's off in the distance. Is it coming my way? It's always very scary. That's why it's important to always tune in and keep that News 9 app handy. You know, the sheriff was saying that they haven't even seen a lot of the damage because it was nighttime.
Yeah, they're waiting for the sun to rise.
They're waiting for the sun to come up, and there could be more. So we'll be following that, checking in with our Kylie Dedman, who is there this morning.
Let's get over to Megan. She's in the Bob Mills Weather Center with the outdoor forecast. Hey, Megan.
Hey, guys, those nighttime storms are so much more dangerous than the daylight because you just can't see what is headed your way. So thankfully here on your Friday morning, guys, we've almost made it to the weekend. We've got one more day of severe weather threats headed our way. And this is a live look across our Lucky Star Skycam network. Some cloud cover still around this morning. And coming up here in just a little bit, we'll talk more about the weekend. Let me show you your outdoor forecast. Thankfully, this morning is quiet, a slight chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm, especially into the afternoon and evening. Higher chances will be off to our east and to our southeast as the dry line surges in with the cold front up to the north. Wind, hail, and tornadoes back on the table again today. We'll talk about your 9-day and also get you a look at future view coming up here in a few minutes.
And continuing to follow the big story this morning, a mother and daughter killed after their car was hit by a tornado last night. We're going to have a live report from Fairview. Our Kylie Dedman's been speaking with the sheriff. Hear what he has to say after the break.
You're watching Oklahoma's Own News 9 This Morning.
Thanks for joining us here at 6:30. The big story, 2 people killed after their cars hit by a tornado in Major County.
It was a mother and a daughter. Just heartbreaking news there on Highway 60. Kylie Dedman is actually live right there right now. She just spoke with the sheriff there in Major County. She'll have more here in just a moment. But first, we do want to get over to meteorologist Megan Gold in the Bob Mills Weather Center. Kind of have to watch again today as well, Megan.
We have more severe threats today. Yesterday it was western Oklahoma, and today it is eastern Oklahoma. I want to start by showing you this video from our Jeremy Carter. Just stunning video from his nighttime camera with essentially continuous lightning showing what looks to be a wedge tornado. We think this could have been an EF2, but damage surveys will give us a better idea. And Mason Dunn and Bob Mills Sky News 9 will be up later this morning with aerial views of the damage. Thinking about everybody impacted, heartbroken to have lost Oklahomans last night. And we do know we had at least 7 tornadoes, and that number will more than likely change. We had 5 back in January that tied the all-time January record. And on average, we have right around 1 tornado in February. But we say this all the time, you can get tornadoes all months of the year. Here are those 7 tornadoes. A supercell developed right along Highway 60, and that was really our first tornado to the southwest of Fairview, and it went up to the north and east. From there, Helena to Nash. So through the afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms, and by 7 to 8 o'clock, things really took off with a thunderstorm over Tologa that quickly became severe, and that tracked up to the north. To show you how far this storm traveled, looking at shear rate, and there it is over Tologa to Sealing, southwest of Fairview, Oriena, Helena, Jet. Those were really the areas under the gun yesterday. This storm rotated for 70 miles. That is significant, especially in March. Here on your Friday morning, most of us are dry. A few showers down in southeastern Oklahoma, and starting to see a few little showers develop down in the southern sides of Chickasha over to Alex. And let's see, just moving now into Dibble and south of Lindsay, west of Pauls Valley. Here's the live look from our Lucky Stars Skycam network as we are breaking daylight. Still quite a bit of cloud cover around, and look at the movement of those clouds. 64 is our temperature right now. Very warm and mild out the door with a gusty south wind. Today is a very warm, a very windy day. The dry line moves into western Oklahoma, the cold front to the north, and more severe weather possible later today. We'll talk all about it coming up here in Full Weather.
Megan, thank you. Now to the northwest side of Oklahoma, where we know a mother and a daughter have been killed after their car was hit by a tornado. This all happened last night in Fairview. Our Kylie Dedman joins us live there this morning. Kylie, what is the latest there?
Yeah, Colby, it's just an unfortunate and just heartbreaking situation. The sheriff, he was telling me that this is a very close-knit community and they're all family here. Now I'm here at Highway 60 and County Road at 2435, where as the sun is coming up, we're starting to see more of that damage from last night's tornadoes, which we're hearing at least 7 tornadoes were reported here in this area. Now, as you can see, we have down power lines here at this intersection, and then just going down this street, just more power lines all the way down. And then in the field, crews are working. We've seen tons of crews out here in this field and also on Highway 60, just constantly working, picking up these power lines, picking up any of the telephone poles that have been down, and of course just the debris. Now, as you see right here, the sheriff office and deputies all in this area are blocking off Highway 60 because of these downed lines. So if you're going to be traveling in this area, they're urging people to come and avoid this area. Do not come in this area at all. Now, this is also the area where unfortunately that mother and daughter did lose their lives last night. They were traveling in this area in their car, talking on the phone with somebody when they lost service. And the person they were talking to then reached out to the dispatch, reached out to law enforcement and were like, hey, we can't get in contact with somebody. We need help. Take a listen to what the sheriff's office told me once they were then, that person was trying to get in contact with officials. They were in their car. Do you know where they were traveling to or from or anything like that?
I don't know where they were traveling to or from. I know that they had been on cellular phone with one of their family members and had lost connection. We believe that the vehicle was hit directly with a tornado.
Now we know that OHP was able to ping that phone location, was able to then find them. Multiple agencies were out here assisting. That at this time they're the only known fatalities and also the only known injuries. We also know that last night there was a rolled semi-truck on Highway 412. Again, no injuries there. We also know down in Major County, a little further south from where we are, there was reports of structure damage as well, but again, no injuries there. Now, again, crews are still out here working. The sheriff tells me that Highway 60 will be closed down and for a few more hours, more until the sun comes up, just working on these down power lines. So again, avoid this area. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. And something that we are working to learn more is the identity of that, of course, mother and daughter who unfortunately lost their lives last night from the tornadoes here in Major County. So we'll keep you updated, so stay with News 9 for that. Reporting live here in Major County, Kylie Dutman, Oklahoma's own News 9.
And crews certainly going to be surveying the damage as the sun now comes up. Kylie, we appreciate that report. We're going to continue to keep you updated as new information comes in throughout the day right here and on our website, news9.com.
Your time 6:36, a quick check of traffic this morning. And this is a live look from our news tracker, Lex Stanfield. This morning, he is monitoring conditions, looking at I-240 and Western. Saw some school buses in there. Traffic is picking up. We're in that morning commute. Everyone's driving happy so far. Hopefully it stays that way. We'll check again in the next 10 minutes. The other big story we're following this morning, we are taking a closer look at what a transition of leadership would look like now that Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma looks like he will replace Kristi Noem as Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. We actually spoke with two immigration attorneys who say Mullin will likely stick with the Trump administration's current immigration enforcement strategies rather than shake things up with major new policies. One of those attorneys told us immigrant communities in Oklahoma City feel terrorized by increased immigration enforcement.
I think it'll continue to be consistent as far as what's going on with ICE in the streets, arresting and profiling people. I think a lot of those things are going to continue until the people stand up and say that's not what they want anymore.
State Senator Michael Brooks Jimenez says the vast majority of population growth within the Latino community is not immigrants, but U.S. citizens. He encourages everyone who is able to get out and vote in the upcoming special election.
6:37 your time right now, and a lot to talk about today. We're looking at, of course, the footage from last night, seeing all the damage now that the sun's coming up. But we're also concerned about what could happen today. The severe threat still there with us.
Yeah, they said this week would be pretty busy with weather. Let's get back over to Megan Gold. Megan, what's happening today?
Well, today the threat shifts into eastern Oklahoma. I don't think it'll be quite as big as what we had yesterday, but it is still so very important to keep an eye on these storms as they go up. Storm trackers will be out, as always, keeping you updated with the very latest. This morning, starting to see a few additional showers develop down near Chickasha and Dibble, and these do have the potential to become some thunderstorms. Watching that very closely. And again, severe weather likely mainly east of I-35, wind, hail, and tornadoes again today. We'll talk all about it coming up.
All right, we are breaking daylight this morning, and you said Sunday should finally be a day of really good weather if it all lines up, right?
A day of rest.
It feels like we haven't had sunshine all week
It's been pretty
long.
gloomy and leery.
Very gloomy.
Gloomy and weary.
Weary, leery.
I'm leery of what you said.
I'm leery of what I just said.
We're all weary this morning.
It's been a long
for
week.
sure.
Heartbroken of what happened last night. Western Oklahoma, really, it was an intense night of storms. We had 7 at least tornadoes, and we will have our Mason done up in the sky here in about 20 minutes in Bob Mills Sky News 9 with surveys of those tornadoes and the damage that they caused. And we do know that a few structures were damaged. So we will have more information on that coming up in our 9 o'clock newscast. Just to take you back, this is the video we've been showing all morning long, but I think it is truly the video that really encapsulates what happened last night. This was one of the larger tornadoes of those 7 from our Jeremy Carter in areas southwest of Fairview, and there is the potential that this will be rated as an EF2 tornado, but again, preliminary. So intense lightning, frequent lightning lighting up the sky and showing you just a monster of a tornado. So we'll take you to Links 1 and show you, actually we'll start here. Speaking of Highway 60 in Fairview, thank you control room. This is a view from our Stephen Owsley and Kylie Dedman as they are working to restore power lines down in the Fairview area, and more than likely that is a pretty common scene as you go up through the path that these tornadoes tracked. Let me show you exactly the storm that our Jeremy Carter was on when this thing was tornado warned. This is unfortunately the area that we lost those 2 Oklahomans last night near Highway 60 to the southwest of Fairview. So Fairview did not take a direct hit. The storm started rotating, and from there it was essentially this mesocyclone that on and off dropped tornado 7 as it tracked up to the north and east and had a very, very impressive hook echo feature. So we had 5 tornadoes back in January that tied the all-time January record. I showed this a little bit ago and put it on February. It's actually March now. So we now have 7 tornadoes for the month of March, and March is the month that we start to see more severe weather, especially this year with our temperatures warming earlier than it feels like we didn't even have a winter. It is no surprise that we've kind of kicked spring off very early. So speaking of those 7 tornadoes, again, preliminary reports from looking at the latest data from last night and where the debris was. There's your tornado over Highway 60 southwest of Fairview, and it traveled up to the north and east. So there's Helena, there's Nash, and then to the south and southwest of Medford. And this shows you as the supercell developed right over Putnam to Taloga to Sealing. There's your hook echo as it went right through Oriena up to Helena. And these storms gradually weakened, but not until about midnight. Our team was on for hours and hours and hours. And what you're looking at here is the rotation. This is the shear detector or the rotation tracker. And this thing rotated for more than 70 miles, a monster of a storm. Here on your Friday morning, things are much quieter. We've had showers off into eastern Oklahoma, and now beginning to see additional showers going up down to the south of the Oklahoma City metro. So a few pockets of heavy rain up Marlow to Duncan to Velma, up towards the Ninnekah and the Chickasha area, lifting up towards Norman to Blanchard and Purcell. So it is possible for a few scattered showers as we go through the morning. There's no lightning with any of this, but we'll watch that very closely if you have kids headed to the bus stop. Here's the live look from our Norman camera. Look at the motion there of the clouds. Still hanging on to quite a bit of cloud cover. 64 is our temperature right now with a very strong south wind. Temperatures right around midnight were 70 degrees. We had a warm front that lifted yesterday. We had a lot of instability. We had sunshine in western Oklahoma, warm temperatures, high dew points, and that just led to the perfect environment for these thunderstorms to take off. So very warm this morning. We've got 30s out in the Panhandle. South winds gusting 25 to 30, have had a few gusts to 35. And this afternoon, we warm it up with south winds gusting to 35 and 40 miles per hour. 78 for a high in Oklahoma City. The cold front that moves through tonight builds into the northwest this afternoon with the dry line moving in from the Texas Panhandle. As it does, air gets very, very dry. Humidity down to about 10 to 20% in western Oklahoma. I know you picked up good rains over the last 24 hours, but fire danger, something to watch today. Here's our zone for this afternoon and evening. The hope is that today will not be as big of a day as last night was. It doesn't look like it, but it's always possible when you get rotating storms that they drop tornadoes. So we do have a low tornado risk. And let me walk you through future next gen. Again, a chance for a few spotty showers and thunderstorms. And by 2 to 3 to 4 o'clock, we're going to watch for scattered thunderstorms and potentially supercells to develop mainly to the east of Oklahoma City, with another round of thunderstorms coming through overnight tonight. And we'll have additional shower and thunderstorm chances through the morning, mainly down to our south and to our east. So we'll watch for that as well. This is just showing you how much energy is available to those storms as we go into the afternoon. A 20% chance for one of those storms in Oklahoma City, higher chances to the south. And guys, tomorrow the cold front has moved through and it is a much cooler day. Your Sunday, we warm it back to the 70s, gorgeous sunshine, 81 on Monday, and our next round of potential severe weather on Tuesday.
Ahead on the Community Spotlight, a new experience at the Oklahoma City Zoo opens today. It's all about dinosaurs. Coming up at 9 a.m., we take a live look at what the Dinosaur Expedition has to offer. Back after this.
The zoo got dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Welcome back. A major shakeup at the nation's capital as President Trump picks Oklahoma's own Senator Markwayne Mullin as the next Homeland Security Secretary, one of Trump's longtime allies, now replacing Kristi Noem, who has faced scrutiny over immigration and customs enforcement raids and tactics. Our Brianna Brown joins us with more on those tensions. Brianna?
Markwayne Mullin has served as Oklahoma's junior U.S. Senator since 2023. President Trump announced that Mullin will take over as U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, which oversees border security, immigration enforcement, and disaster response, as well as other domestic security responsibilities. Now, according to a report from National Review, Trump was privately frustrated after Kristi Noem testified before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee that the president had advanced knowledge of a $220 million DHS advertising campaign tied to a contractor connected to one of her allies. Now, Mullin has consistently aligned himself with President Trump, earning a reputation as a steadfast supporter of the president. And during the State of the Union, he was caught on camera trying to take a sign away from a member that criticized the president.
We're going to get Department of Homeland Security making sure that we stay focused on protecting the homeland. And no matter if you support me, you don't support me, I'm going to be laser focused on getting that done.
Now, Mullin will start as acting DHS Secretary on March 31st, but he will still need to be confirmed by the Senate. Here in Oklahoma City, Brianna Brown for Oklahoma's Own News 9.
And Secretary Noem, the former governor of South Dakota, has led the Department of Homeland Security since joining President Trump's cabinet.
An Oklahoma mother and daughter are killed when their car is hit by a tornado. A live report from the scene next.
The big story we're following this morning out of Northwest Oklahoma, we know a mother and daughter have been killed after their car was hit by a tornado. This all happened last night in Fairview. Our Kylie Dedman has been there all morning long. Kylie, what's the latest from Fairview?
Colby, the mother and daughter that unfortunately lost their lives last night are the only known fatalities this morning. Now, there was structure damage, also Major County, and also a flipped semi that happened on Highway 412 last night. But the sheriff tells me there is no reported injuries in any of those situations. Now, as you can see behind me, there is down power lines. This is in the area of County Road 2435 and Highway 60, where unfortunately that mother and daughter were traveling on in this area. Now, you can see the down power lines. There's also power poles. The sheriff's office has this area blocked off, and they're also asking people to avoid this area due to these down power lines. Now, this is a developing story, so stay with News 9 for more information. Reporting live here in Major County, Kylie Dedman, Oklahoma's own News 9.
Kylie, thank you. And just into the newsroom, Governor Kevin Stitt says that he is, quote, praying for the family as they grieve this tragic loss, as well as all those impacted by the storms. He goes on to remind Oklahomans to, quote, please stay weather aware and follow guidance from local officials to keep your family safe.
A few other headlines. We now know a deadly shooting in Enid is apparently a murder-suicide. Investigators say they found Kendra Smith shot near 23rd and Cedar on Wednesday night. She died at the hospital. Officers say the suspect, her estranged husband, Jeffrey Smith, was found dead at a nearby gas station. They say he had taken his own life. And the all clear is given at SSM Health St. Anthony Hospital in Midtown Oklahoma City after a threat forced a lockdown. Oklahoma City police say someone called threatening to shoot up the hospital just before 3 p.m. yesterday. Officers say that threat turned out to be not credible. Your time now 6:58. One more check of traffic before you head out the door this morning. This is a live look from our news tracker, Lex Stanfield. He is southbound on Broadway Extension, kind of just past Northwest 50th, headed towards downtown. He says everything looks good right now. Please be safe on the roads this morning.
As a reminder, you can meet Megan, you can meet Lacey, our entire News 9 weather team at the 10th Annual Severe Weather Awareness Expo this Saturday. The nation's largest team of storm trackers, Mason Dunn, Bob Mills, Sky News 9, all will be at the Penn Square Mall from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. again tomorrow. Be sure to come in for that. And a lot of folks getting in from all out of town, so get there early is the big suggestion.
Absolutely.
Right?
Hey, Megan, doing a share this morning. Timberlake schools in Alfalfa County, they are closed today due to power outages from the storm and tornadoes last night. So Timberlake Public Schools, no class today.
Great update there. And of course, it's all about the storms that happened last night. We will have our Mason Dunn and Bob Mills Sky News 9 coming up here in just a few minutes and begin surveying that damage. We'll have updates throughout the morning for you. A few showers have gone up down on the south side. These will not be severe. Maybe a heavy downpour or two this afternoon. Is very warm. The cold front that moves through overnight tonight moves into the northwest. And then, guys, we have another round of severe weather possible later this afternoon and evening into the overnight. The threats look highest in far eastern Oklahoma, and hopefully it will be nothing like last night.
And again, swing by, say hi. You guys love talking to folks about the Severe Weather Awareness Expo, and we'll have more coverage of the severe weather from last night.
In the meantime, for all your national news, CBS Morning